I was the photographer at a perfect wedding, but my camera captured something terrible. I showed the bride one secret photo I took. What she did, at the altar, made everyone gasp. Part 1. I've photographed over 300 weddings in my career, and I thought I'd seen everything: nervous grooms, bridezillas, family drama, last-minute disasters. But I had never been in a situation where my camera captured a secret so devastating that it would make me question everything I believed about love, choice, and my own moral obligations. The wedding of Victoria Reed and Peter Russell was supposed to be the pinnacle of my career, a high society event that would establish me among the elite wedding photographers. Instead, it became the day I realized that sometimes the most important picture you take is the one that stops a wedding from happening. Before we begin, I ask you, where are you watching this from? Share in the comments below, and please follow for more stories about the moments when ordinary people find extraordinary courage. Now, let me take you back to that perfect spring morning when I learned that sometimes the most beautiful weddings hide the ugliest secrets. My name is Ross Bailey, and I've been a wedding photographer for 8 years. I fell into the profession almost by accident. I was a freelance photojournalist struggling to make ends meet when a friend asked me to photograph her wedding as a favor. I discovered that I had a gift for capturing the intimate moments that make each wedding unique. The nervous laugh of a groom seeing his bride for the first time, the tears in a father's eyes as he walks his daughter down the aisle, the pure joy on a couple's faces as they're pronounced husband and wife. Wedding photography became more than just a job for me. It was a celebration of love in all its forms. I'd photographed beach weddings and barn weddings, elaborate church ceremonies, and intimate backyard gatherings. Each one taught me something new about the infinite ways people choose to commit their lives to each other. The Reed Russell wedding was different from anything I'd done before. When Victoria Reed's assistant called to book my services, she made it clear that this wasn't just any wedding. This was a merger of two of the most prominent families in the state, a social event that would be covered by society, magazines, and attended by politicians, business leaders, and old money aristocracy. Mr. Bailey, the assistant had said in a crisp, professional tone, Miss Reed has reviewed your portfolio and would like to hire you for her wedding on May 15th. The budget is unlimited, and we expect nothing less than perfection. The venue was the Reed family estate, a sprawling mansion that had been in the family for 4 generations. When I arrived for the pre-wedding consultation, I was struck by the sheer opulence of the place: manicured gardens that looked like something from a fairy tale, a ballroom that could accommodate 500 guests, and enough staff to run a small hotel. Victoria Reed was everything you'd expect from a society bride, 26 years old, stunningly beautiful, with the kind of poise and elegance that comes from a lifetime of finishing schools and charity goal. She was polite during our meeting, answering my questions about the timeline and her vision for the photos, but there was something distant about her, as if she was going through the motions rather than planning the happiest day of her life. What's most important to you in terms of the photography? I asked a question that usually prompted brides to light up as they talked about capturing their love story. My father wants comprehensive documentation of the event, she said, carefully. Every guest, every moment, every detail. This wedding represents the joining of 2 important families, and the photographs need to reflect that significance. It was an odd way to talk about her own wedding, clinical, almost businesslike. Most brides talked about wanting to capture their joy, their love, the emotion of the day. Victoria talked about it like a corporate merger. And what do you want? I pressed gently. What moments are most important to you, personally? For just a second, something flickered across her face, a vulnerability, a longing, but it was gone so quickly I almost thought I'd imagined it. I want whatever my father thinks is best, she said finally. The groom, Peter Russell, was exactly what central casting would order for a society wedding: tall, handsome in a conventional way, with the confidence that comes from never having to worry about money or status. He was pleasant enough during our meeting, but I noticed that he and Victoria barely looked at each other, and when they did interact, it felt more like business partners than lovers. Ross comes highly recommended, Peter said to Victoria as if I wasn't sitting right there. The Whitmore wedding he shot last year was featured in Town and Country. That's wonderful, Victoria replied, but her tone suggested she was thinking about something else entirely. I left that initial meeting with a strange feeling in my stomach. In 8 years of wedding photography, I developed a sixth sense about couples. I could usually tell within minutes whether I was looking at a love story or a disaster waiting to happen. The Reed Russell wedding felt like neither. It felt like a performance, a poorly one. The morning of the wedding dawned perfect: clear skies, gentle breeze, the kind of day that makes photographers grateful for their profession. I arrived at the Reed estate at 7:00 a.m. to begin capturing the preparation process, starting with the bridal suite where Victoria was getting ready with her bridesmaids. The bridal suite was a flurry of activity, hairstylists, makeup artists, bridesmaids, in matching robes, and enough flowers to stock a florist shop. Victoria sat in the center of it all, like a beautiful statue, allowing herself to be prim and polished while maintaining that same distant expression. I'd noticed during our consultation, I began taking photos, focusing on the details that would tell the story of the morning, the wedding dress hanging in the window, the delicate jewelry laid out on velvet, the bouquet of white roses and baby's breath. But as I worked, I found myself watching Victoria's face in my viewfinder, and what I saw troubled me. She wasn't glowing with bridal joy, she wasn't excited or nervous, or any of the emotions I'd come to expect from brides on their wedding day. She looked resigned, like someone going through the motions of a role she'd been assigned, rather than chosen. "Victoria, darling, you need to smile," said one of her bridesmaids, a perfectly coiffed blonde who looked like she'd stepped out of a country club catalog. "Check bio for next."